Lesson 28, The Elf Singing. Now, my dear children, we are on Unit 4 with a new poem, The Elf Singing, written by the poet William Allingham. Let us read the entire poem and try to understand as I read out each stanza to you. The first stanza. An elf sat on a twig. He was not very big. He sang a little song. He did not think it wrong. But he was on a wizard's ground who hated all sweet sound. Now, my dear children, here we have an elf. And who is an elf? You must have read about elf in fairy tales. He is none other than an imaginary creature with magical powers. Now, this elf sat on a twig. Twig is a small stem of wood that grows from a branch on a tree. Now, as he sat on this twig, he was very small. He was not big, means he was small, and he was singing a little song. He did not think that it was wrong to sing a song. But he was on wizard's ground. Now, who is a wizard? Wizard is the masculine gender of witch. Now, he too has magical powers. And he hated all sweet sound. No matter how beautiful the sound was, he hated all beautiful sound. The next stanza. Elf, elf, take care of yourself. He's coming behind you to seize you and bind you and stifle your song. Now here the poet is calling out to the elf and he wants to warn the elf. And therefore he's calling to tell him that please be careful of yourself, because who's coming behind you? The wizard is coming behind you. And what will he do? He will seize you. What is the meaning of the word seize? That means he will hold you. He will take you in his control. And he will bind you. And what will happen? He will stifle your song because he doesn't like any sweet song. He will put a stop to his singing. We move to the next stanza. The wizard, he changes his shape in crawling along, an ugly old ape, a poisonous lizard. Now here in this stanza, we see that this wizard who has magical powers is changing his shape. He's changing his shape from his original appearance to a crawling thing, which is like an ape, and then he changes himself to a poisonous lizard. You can see that on the screen. We move to the next stanza. A spotted spider, a wormy glider. The wizard, he's up on the bow. He'll bite through your gizzard. He's close to you now. Now, we know that this wizard has got magical powers, and so the poet is so anxious in warning the elf that now he is changing his appearance into a spotted spider, a spider with spots, and a wormy glider. The worm is gliding and therefore he is a wormy glider. And now what is happening? The wizard is up on a bow. Bow means a branch of a tree. And the poet is warning the elf once again that he'll bite your stomach. Gizzard means stomach. It's a part of the stomach. And he says that he's close to you now. He's very close. So better be careful and save yourself. We move to the next stanza. The elf went on with his song. It grew more clear and strong. It lifted him into air. He floated singing away with rainbows in his hair. Now, here in this stanza, the elf is on and on with his song. He's singing a little song, the beautiful song, and the song is becoming more clear and strong. The elf is happy and he lifts himself up into the air, starts flying and floating away, singing with rainbows in his hair. The next stanza. While the wizard worm from his creep made a sudden leap, fell down into a hole, and ere his magic word he could say, was eaten up by a mole. Now here the wizard was changing forms from a an old ape to a poisonous lizard to a spotted deer, a wormy glider, and so on. And now we see that he has taken a shape of a worm. And this worm, when it was creeping, it took a sudden leap and it fell into a hole. And before he could say his magic word, he was eaten up by a mole. Now, what is a mole? A mole is a small, dark, funny animal which you can see on the slide. So this was the end of the wizard. Thank you.